Hey yo, what is poppin', Fortnite Legends? It's your boy Fizz. Bringing you guys a UPA Week 4 battle going up against King Clyde and the Inglewood Infernapes. Now, Clyde is a good bud of mine. I've known him for pretty much 2 years at this point, ever since I joined Discord. He's been pretty much one of the earliest friends that I made on Discord. And I don't think we've ever fought in a battle before, so I'm really excited about this one for sure. And this is a pretty important battle because the loser is going to be 2-2. I believe Cleed is 2-1 right now. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, this is a very important game for me because if I win, I'm going to be first in the division, and it's just going to be really good looking for playoffs and the rest of the season in week 4 at this point. Now, this upload is super late. I apologize. I apologize a lot. I've been running my own tournament in my league, and I recently got a job, so very busy at this point, and really didn't have enough time to record anything. So again, I apologize for the late upload. And just to get this up as quick as possible, my commentary isn't going to be as fantastic. Well, it's never fantastic, but it's not going to be as in-depth as it might have been in past weeks or other leagues. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. I just really want to get this up and get it over with so I can continue to be busy, I guess. But yeah, man, he has a very powerful team. Looking at it, he has a Mew, Zygarde 50, Zero Aura, Sylveon, Milotic, Piloswine, Decidueye, Bronzong, Mega Pidgeot, Gigalith, and the Stoutland. So overall, he has pretty good bulk, pretty good offense. His best breakers are going to be that Mega Pidgeot and that Zygarde. But luckily for me, Zygarde isn't that strong naturally. So the best breaker he has is like Stoutland and Sand and Mega Pidgeot. And he can easily bring a lot of his team, like Mew, Zygarde, Zero Aura, like pretty much everything on a C minus something like pretty much Zygarde is pretty much the only thing that I wouldn't really expect in this matchup, just because it does struggle with a couple of things and does just get revenged by my Comfey pretty easily as well. I could be Shucka, Coco, stuff like that. So it overall has a tough time trying to break through my team, but I can still definitely see it coming. But yeah, the thing I'm really expecting the most is like very defensive Mew for my Hawlucha, because Hawlucha kind of blows back his team in a way, because his Psychic type is going to be Mew, and we can pressure that pretty easily with my team. And he has a Bronzong. I don't know why I pointed out that he had Bronzong, but he does have a Bronzong. Hawlucha also outspeeds his Sand Core, but as you can see, I'm not bringing the Hawlucha, but I still think he's just going to bring defensive Mew regardless of if I bring Hawlucha or not anyways. And Zoro Aura, he's been talking about Zero Aura checking like a Thundy T, Thundy I, or whatever. So I definitely expect like an AV Zero Aura with very special, or with a lot of special bulk into it for sure. I feel like he'll definitely run that set. I can pretty much expect that every time. Milotic is pretty much his only Zygarde. His Zard switching, but in Electric Terrain I do two-shot that with Thunder Punch, which is very, very nice. Piloswine is definitely going to be like a phaser for my Comfey, for my Coco, Necrozma, stuff like that. And Pidgeot is scary. Gigalith and Stoutland are very big threats under Sand, because I don't have a lot of Sand checks in this team right now. And again, I am recording this post-battle, so yeah, just looking at it in hindsight, I don't really have a lot of checks to the Sand. So in hindsight, that kind of sucks. But well, let's see how it goes. But yeah, something I noticed about his team is that he only has 2 rockers basically, the Piloswine and the Bronzong. And those are pretty big threats against my setup Necrozma, and he has no Dark, so setup Necrozma looks to be phenomenal right now. So if I can get rid of Piloswine, that can roar me out potentially, and Bronzong, that obviously resists my Psychic type attacks with my Dhelmise, that's going to be very good. And those are his only rockers as well, so if I get rid of those, no more chip against my Zard or anything in general, so that's just going to be really good. He also has a Gigalith that can potentially set up rocks as well. I didn't really think about that, but yeah, Gigalith can also come, but you could definitely bring like an AV Gigalith as well to handle something like my Coco, but I don't really think AV Gigalith is the wave, and I think he'll definitely bring the Gigalith for my Swellow. But man, I just said I was going to be in a rush, but I just spent like 5 minutes talking about his team. But yeah, enough of that. I'm going to jump right into mine. Dhelmise right here with the Yachi Berry, Anchor Shot, Shadow Claw, Rapid Spin, and Synthesis. I don't like rocks on my team, or spikes. Well, he doesn't have spikes. I don't like rocks on my team, so getting rid of them with Spin is going to be really nice. And he has no Ghost type except for Decidueye, but he's never going to stand on my Dhelmise. Probably not, at least. So I can get a pretty free spin off, and this is probably going to be my lead every single time, since I expect his rockers to be Piloswine, Bronzong, and Gigalith, and if I can trap them with Anchor Shot first of all, and Bronzong doesn't really do much back to me, so I can just Shadow Claw it down and spin away the next turn, whatever I want to do. So that's just all really good for me, and Piloswine is his Coco check, so if I can trap that and just kill it with 2 Anchor Shots, that's going to be really good. I have some speed in here to outspeed no speed Piloswine. I don't really anticipate him running a lot of speed, if any at all, on Piloswine. Like Max Spadef seems like the best set to me to handle my Coco the best, in my opinion. So I don't really anticipate him running any speed on his Piloswine, so that speed is there for that. And in general, just a really good set. Synthesis is obviously nerfed in the sand, but I'm just going to Anchor Shot that Gigalith anyways. So yeah, Domize is going to be a really good lead for me, and it can take out one of his rockers and his Coco or Necrozma checks, whatever it may be, very early in the game within the first few turns. So I really like this set, making its debut here, and I think it's going to work out pretty well. And it also has a Yachi Berry, so I can take a Piloswine hit and don't die, so really nice stuff. I have my Comfy here supporting my Necrozma Wincon. Now I am max special attack modest, just so I'm not way too passive against something like the Zero Aura. I can actually do pretty decent damage to that thing. But this provides a Cleric support. This provides Cleric support for my Necrozma. Necrozma obviously can't really rest because I do have a Tapu Koko with the electric terrain, so I can't rest in the terrain obviously. So I'm really forced to bring Heal Bell here in case he brings like Toxic, but I very well expect him to have like Roar, Piloswine, Haze Milotic. I definitely expect those two for sure, maybe even Roar Mew. Can be pretty threatening against my team. But this is a really nice defensive pivot as well. I can get a lot of health back. Now I'm not very bulky, but I don't really need it to like defensively check anything other than like kill Zygarde. But I'm always out of range of a Zygarde anyway, so that's really nice for me. And yeah, there's a really good defensive pivot here that can hit pretty hard. U-turn is really nice. In case he wants to go Bronzong, if I didn't trap that already, I can U-turn out and threaten it with something like my Coco or my Dhelmise and proceed to trap it. So yeah, really good bulky pivot in this matchup, and really looking forward to see how it works. Calm Mind is really solid here, quite honestly. If I trap that Dhelmise, he doesn't have very good responses to my Calm Mind Comfy at all, but I really felt like this was the best possible set because Necrozma was just a way better Wincon, and yeah, so yeah, that's cool. Necrozma, like I was talking about before, his setup variant, Calm Mind, Drug Pulse, Photon Geyser, Moonlight. He doesn't have any checks to this thing other than phasing Milotic and Piloswine. So that's just really good news for me. He doesn't have a Dark type like I mentioned before. So I can run 2 attacks on this thing and do pretty well with it. Calm Mind can set up in front of something like the Zygarde. I can Calm Mind in front of that. I don't really anticipate him being a setup variant. I can take 2,000 arrows to the face, so that's really nice with my bulk. And Photon Geyser, Drug Pulse hits everything on his team. Drug Pulse hits a Mew and the Bronzong, which are his only psychic resists on his team. And a lot of bulk on here just so I can take Zero Aura hits better, and in general just take hits better. And if I'm going to be setting up pretty much for free anyways, I don't really think I need a lot of offense. And the speed is there to outspeed like a 20 speed Mew in case he wants to go with that, if he does decide to bring the Taunt Mew. So he doesn't have any shenanigans with my Necrozma and stuff like that. Seismitoad can be a pretty good lead on his end. I could Toxic the Mew, but I don't have it. But Taunt Mew is definitely something that he could bring, so I'm bringing a lot of speed on Necrozma here and a lot of Fizz Def. But yeah, just a really good set here. Necrozma looks to be a really, really good Wincon once I kill his phasers like the Piloswine, Milotic, and take out the Bronzong is going to be really helpful against a Necrozma. So yeah, just a really good Necrozma set. Really happy with it, and it can be a really, very, very reliable Wincon here. Tapu Koko here, Farium Z, Thunderbolt, Deagling, Calm Mind, and Roost. Now, I don't really have U-turn on this thing because I don't anticipate Piloswine being a very good switch-in because +1 Farium Z takes like 70 from the Piloswine, so with enough chip, and I feel like it's very pressured in this matchup anyway, I can Calm Mind up on it and then just proceed to bop it, and he doesn't have the best checks to this Calm Mind Koko. He can run AV Zero Aura, but I don't die to 2 Plasma Fists in the terrain, and I can Calm Mind and Roost on the Zero Aura potentially. So that's really nice for me. Zygarde obviously dies to anything I want to go for. Sylveon doesn't do much to me. Milotic gets absolutely roasted, so nothing exactly wants to take on Koko, except for like his Stoutland and Sand, which can be very terrifying. And again, I didn't really prep for Stoutland at all. So that could be the bane of my existence, but either way, this Coco serves as a really good breaker and a win con in case my Necrozma goes down for whatever reason. So yeah, Coco looks to be a very good mon here in general. Once that Piloswine is weakened, it can just be a very good win con. It can switch into Mega Pidgeot as well, and I can switch into it and roost up. So yeah, really good stuff there. Zardex, just 4 attacks, Adamant, max attack. I feel like this was the best possible set. I can pressure everything on his team with this. I don't anticipate him running anything more than like 20 speed Mew, because I think he needs all the bulk he needs on the Mew to handle my Hawlucha, which kind of roasts his team like I was mentioning before. My Loda can get chipped with Burn, Rocks, can get set up on unless it has Haze, but that can definitely come for sure. But my Lodic isn't the best Hawlucha check, so that's why I feel like defensive Mew is just a better bring in general. But yeah, I outspeed that 20 speed Mew, and I also outspeed max speed Adamant Zygarde as well. So really good stuff there. Allows me to run Adamant and completely destroy his team. This Thunder Punch can easily two-shot the Milotic in terrain, regardless of what bulk it's at. So it's just really good stuff for me, and I don't have recovery on this thing because its only job here is just to break apart his team, make his team not very safe switching into my Necrozma. I can break down his team for my Coco and my Necrozma in general and just damage his team like a lot. So really good stuff. I outspeed a lot of his team anyway. Like his slower stuff I outspeed, so I didn't really need to bring like Dragon Dance or like way too much speed except to outspeed the Adamant Zygarde. So it's a bit of a risky speed creep, but I felt like it just made sense to me. Like he's not gonna run like max speed Mew, definitely not, I feel like. And Zygarde, I don't think he's gonna run max attack or max speed Jolly. I don't think that's a very good set here. He probably wants a lot of bulk so that like Dhelmise doesn't break its sub or whatever. So I felt like this was the best possible set on Zard here. And next up I have my Registeel, kind of a meme, kind of not. My team kind of loses to Mega Pidgeot if it's like, well in general, it kind of just has trouble dealing with Mega Pidgeot, and I don't really have the best switch-ins. I don't want Coco to be my designated switch into that all the time, because he can just use her and then go into something like the Piloswine and threaten me out. So I really wanted a way more reliable switch into the Mega Pidgeot, and Registeel is one of the best Mega Pidgeot checks in the game. Heat Wave does like 4. I can Zap Cannon that, and what Zap Cannon does for me, it obviously hits Mega Pidgeot all the time because of no guard. Doesn't miss ever against the Mega Pidgeot, and it allows it so that it can't beat me with like a Work Up Refresh roost set on the Mega Pidgeot, because that can 1v1 like a Registeel if it has like only Toxic or whatever. But Zap Cannon allows me so that I can Zap Cannon it, paralyze it guaranteed, and hopefully not make it move, or I can pressure it out and get up rocks, whatever I want to do in general. And this was also just the best rocker on my team. And yeah, Registeel here is really good for my team, but if he doesn't bring Mega Pidgeot, I don't really need it that much. Like, I can just get up rocks and sack it pretty much, because I don't really need it for anything else. But yeah, Registeel is really good as a Mega Pidgeot check, so if he doesn't bring it, it's kind of a waste, but at least I get free rocks, and I can play a little more recklessly with my Registeel, play it as a sack instead of playing it like as a really good member on my team. So I guess there's a bright side to that. But yeah, man, looking back at my prep, I definitely did not prep for Sand at all. Obviously, since I did bring my Hawlucha, which kind of roasted him. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with my team. I have very solid win cons here, very reliable ones, and support around that. So I feel really good about my team right now. But yeah, man, I'll just jump right into the battle right here, see how it goes. And we are back with the battle against Clyde. Let's see how it goes. Good luck, have fun as always. Trying to get to 3-1, like I said, in the team builder, of course. But the team he brings is pretty much what I was expecting, but he brings a Sand, which is terrifying. No Zero Aura kind of surprised me as well, because his Coco check is basically like an AV Gigalith or Piloswine, but Piloswine gets really pressured here in general, so I felt really good about the team he brought. But Sand is definitely just awful to deal with, and I didn't prep for it at all, so let's see if that bites me in the butt. But anyways, regardless of everything, I'm just leading with my Dhelmise, like I said in the team preview, and I'm just going to Anchor Shot because nothing exactly wants to take it. He goes for a Protect here, so right off the bat he reveals speed, not AV, so that's just really good information for me turn 1. As he goes into the Bronzong, which is very interesting, because now I just Anchor Shot that thing and trap it completely. I obviously two-shot it with Shadow Claw as he goes for Toxic here, so no rocks on my end if he does carry rocks on the Bronzong, which I definitely expect. as he reveals a protect, get some more chip on me. But I do eventually take out the Domize right here, or the Bronzong with my Domize, so that's really good for me. And yeah, Domize did his job already. And right here, he's going to go into his Pilot Swine, thinking he can get free Rock Sub, but he goes for the Icicle Crash, and is actually faster than me as I eat my Yachi Berry. Thankfully, no flinch as I Anchor Shot, and that puts him in range of a Z Deagling from Coco. Very interesting that he decided to run speed on the Pilot Swine. Maybe he had like 8 EVs or something, maybe even like 20, just like a standard speed creep. But I feel like Max Spid Def Pilot Swine was probably the best set for him. But what that tells me that he has speed, that Coco can just come in and body this thing. So, but I am just going to go into my Charizard here because nothing exactly wants to switch in. If he goes into Gigalith, I am able to just go for my Earthquake here. Now, this was a huge misplay because I should have Dragon Clawed there 100% of the time. It kills the Pilot Swine because I am adamant, and he only has max HP. I'm assuming he doesn't have a lot of Fizz Def, I'd imagine, because he doesn't have very good Coco checks now that this Gigalith isn't AV. So I felt like that was definitely a Spid Def Pilot Swine, so Dragon Claw would kill it. But instead I go for the Flare Blitz, and I'm a donut, so that's fine. I get huge Flare Blitz chip on this Gigalith as he reveals lefties. So really good stuff for me, thinking that he's not Shucka. But he actually goes for the rocks here. Now, I was heavily debating of just Earthquaking there because, one, there's a chance that he misses Stone Edge, so that's always good for me. Earthquake doesn't kill him if he is Fizz Def, and that damage reveals to be like a roll, like a 50-50 roll, whether it kills or not, judging from that Flare Blitz damage. I was really close to just Earthquaking there because I wanted to predict the rocks because rocks were just incredible against my team. My only defogger was Coco, Comfy, and Zardex at that point, and none of them are very good defoggers against his team. So I really didn't expect him, or I really did expect him to go for rocks there just to get them up and pressure my team for something like the Stoutland in the back. So that was a good play on his end. But on the other hand, I didn't expect him to just sack his sand right there because Stoutland, as you can see, destroys my team now that Domize is gone. But I did not anticipate him to just sack his Stoutland right there. So if I just Earthquaked and then proceeded to go for a Dragon Claw or a Thunder Punch or whatever, like something dies. Nothing takes it. A hit from Charizard, so just really surprised that he went for rocks there, but obviously he went for rocks. He made the correct play in that scenario, but in spite of that, I am just going to go for my own self rocks as he goes for Protect, so free turn for me, free rocks, which is always pretty nice, whittle down his team as he goes into a Pilot Swine, which I am able to two-shot with Seismic Toss, and I'm just going to get rid of that Pilot Swine, and I don't really need help on Registeel because obviously Mega Pidgeot didn't come, and getting rid of Pilot Swine means that Coco looks phenomenal here. And he goes into his Stoutland here. I can gauge damage whether he is Life Orb or Banded. If I see an item like a Life Orb right there, he's obviously Life Orb, but if he doesn't reveal an item, he's probably like Banded, I'm assuming. But yeah, I just go into my Coco here. I was really debating on Calm Minding here, but I was just really debating on Calm Minding here because Stoutland was never going to stay in there because it's his win con. If Stoutland dies, he does not win this game ever. Coco just wins at that point. So really debating on Calm Minding there and just popping the Z. Right here, Z Deagling does not kill at the range he's at. So I just go into my Necrozma, hopefully get free setup on this Gigalith right here. And as you can see, that Earthquake does 22%, so that's like nothing. As he goes into his Milotic, which he doesn't really, well, I guess he does need it because my Zard is still alive, but he can just SP to a Stoutland. But I predict him to definitely go for like a Roar or a Haze, not a Roar, definitely a Haze here, because Haze allows him to get rid of the stat changes on my Coco and Comfy, and in general just my setup Pokemon. So I felt like Haze was definitely the set here, as he reveals a Burn, the Flame Orb, and he does not reveal to be very Fizz Def. Well, I mean, that just takes a chunk. I don't know what the investment was, but he goes for Dragon Tail, which I was just very perplexed at Dragon Tail, because that meant, like, right here in this scenario, Calm Mind Comfy wins 4-0, I win 4-0, right? Because there's nothing you can do about it unless he has Toxic, but I have Heal Ball on this thing, so I can potentially just 1v1 this Milotic and just win the game, but I didn't bring Comfy with Calm Mind, so if I did have Calm Mind, I won the game right here. I was just really, like, face palming myself at this point why he brought Dragon Tail when Haze was definitely the better play, but he said he brought Haze or he said he brought Dragon Tail because it switches out my Hawlucha speed, because Haze does not, what am I trying to say? Haze does not get rid of the speed boost on the Hawlucha, but Hawlucha outspeeds his entire team anyway, so I don't really see why he would want to get rid of my speed when I felt like Haze was just a better way to deal with the Hawlucha, and or just go for Ice Beam and kill me or something. But I didn't feel like he had room for Ice Beam anyway, potentially, but it's fine. But yeah, I'm just screaming at myself why I didn't bring Calm Mind Comfy, because I won the game at this point. But yeah, man, he goes for that, and this shows to be pretty free setup fodder for my Koko. I just need that Stoutland gone. I go for the Draining Kiss as he goes for the recovery right here. So I couldn't kill it. I didn't really have another play. I didn't want to get Scald Burned on my Koko, but in hindsight, I should have definitely gone for, or I should have definitely gone into my Koko, because that was just free setup and something dies. Unless he goes in, well, he's going to sack off Gigalith and go into Stoutland and pretty much do it and break my team like really, really well. But I go for the U-turn out on the Mew, which is really nice shit for me, as he reveals to be an incredibly speedy Mew. Now, this blew my mind. As far as I see no Hawlucha checks. I felt like Milotic wasn't the best Hawlucha check, because it needed to switch into Charizard, like, and especially since I didn't see Shucka or like, yeah, Shucka or Chople on the Gigalith, I really felt like the Mew had to be like physically defensive with Colbur Berry or whatever, with Wisp, Roar, whatever, for my Hawlucha, because he has no Hawlucha answers. Like Zard X plus Hawlucha destroys his team. So I really felt like this would have been a defensive Mew, and I wanted to chip the Mew down in range of a Koko at this point, so that's why I stayed in and went for the attack. And I didn't think anything he had would kill me unless he had like Earth Power with a lot of investment. And as you can see, he outspeeds me and kills my Zard, which just blew my mind why he didn't bring a defensive Mew when his team kind of just got bodied by Hawlucha. But yeah, I don't know. He ends up switching into Gigalith, trying to sack it and win with Stoutland, or just break my team for the Stoutland, as I just go for my T-Bolt, kill the Gigalith right there. Now I'm in an incredibly awful position right here. As he brings in his Stoutland, I have to pick a sack, you know. I need Koko around because I can't kill the Milotic. As he reveals to have Dragon Tail and I don't have Calm Mind Comfy. And I really needed to pick a sack here. Now in hindsight, I think I should have definitely sacked the Koko, because seeing as that Mew doesn't carry Roar, I could just sack my Koko, go into Necrozma, set up in front of something, / kill the Stoutland after Life Orb, Sandstorm, and Photon Geyser. I could definitely kill that thing. And I could set up in front of my Milotic. As he can Dragon Tail me into Comfy, he can't Dragon Tail me back. I can U-turn in general, and I can proceed to set up with Necrozma, seeing as this Mew can't really do much to me, because it doesn't have like phasing of any sort. So the correct play here was actually to go and sack the Koko, because Milotic could be beaten by my Necrozma very, very easily. If it was the only Pokemon left and I was set up with it, it kind of just won the game, like literally. So sacking Koko was always the correct play here, but instead I actually switched into my Necrozma, thinking that I needed Koko to kill the Milotic, as he doesn't kill me, so cool. It doesn't really matter, I go down the sand. But really bad misplay right there. I should have sacked the Koko 100%, because Necrozma won at that point. Once sand was gone, Necrozma easily won. And he revealed lefties on the Gigalith, so he wasn't like that Smooth Rock item, whatever, that boosts sand turns. So yeah, at the time I didn't realize it was a misplay, but looking back at it, I felt like sacking Koko was always a correct play. And at this point I'm in an awful position, but Comfy can seal the deal here, as the Stoutland does a tremendous amount to me with the return. I don't die to sand, which is really nice. But I am just going to go for my Draining Kiss here, finish off the Stoutland. And what I'm thinking here is that I can 1v1 the Mew. I don't really know what set it is going to be though, but I felt like at this point I'm like, okay, the only way he beats me if he is like, you know, Dual Dance with a speed boosting move and like a nasty plot variant, because he did reveal Earth Power, not like Earthquake. So I did expect him to, the only way he could beat me at this point was if he was Double Dance, as he goes for his Soft Spoil. So another move slot that I see as he reveals Soft Spoil and the Earth Power, as he goes for a Rock Polish, and I'm like, oh boy. In hindsight, I think I made the correct play. I didn't think that he would bring this Mew against my team, so it didn't really cross my mind, but the possibility definitely was there, and that was just on me, all on me, for not thinking that he could definitely beat Mew. But it just didn't make sense to me that his Milotic would just die to like the combination of Zardex and Hawlucha and just lose to Hawlucha because he does not have a Hawlucha check at this point in the game. Or yeah, since he revealed non-defensive Mew. I was just like kicking myself in the head, like thinking, why did I do this in prep for the majority of the time? But he goes for Psychic, does not two-shot me, so I felt like I could definitely stall this out. But he goes for the Genesis Supernova right here, and that seals a deal. That killed my Comfey very easily. As he sets up the Psychic terrain, which doesn't matter, I go into Coco, but he outspeeds me and goes for the Earth Power. If only I was Shucka, I could have won the game, but, you know, sadness. But yeah, Clyde takes his game 2-0. We are now 2-2 at the moment, and yeah, it was a really frustrating loss, quite honestly, because he brought sets that I didn't expect. Ended up working out for him, so obviously they were good sets. Not trying to like decredit him or anything, but he played pretty well. Just really surprised at some of the things he brought. Really long debate at why he brought this Mew, why Milotic had Dragon Tail, stuff like that, but in the end he won fair and square. Played well, nothing I can really do about it, but yeah, all I can do is just bounce back next week and Calm Mind Comfey wins. So a lot of things that could have changed, but there's no point trying to change the past. All I can do is go into the next week and hope I can pull out a W, you know. And yeah, next week I go up against Ange in the main Absols, and that's just going to be a very big game for me because going positive in this league is just going to be good for me. 3-2 is not amazing, but being positive in the league over 500 is just going to be good in general. So definitely want that security there. And right now Zern is at the top of our division, and I'm currently tied for second in the division with Clyde. So yeah, definitely a rough week. Definitely a lot of thoughts, but you know what, GG Clyde, and thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me, and like always, have a swell day. Peace.